Hey guys, it's Connie here from Say It With Simplicity, and I'm here today in Silhouette Studio and bringing you a tutorial on how to use some of the tools that you have in Silhouette Studio to make a flower cut file like the one I'm showing over here on the left. So, if you have Designer Edition and above, sometimes you'll notice that if you draw a shape or something, you'll have this annoying little cross circle here, and you don't necessarily know how to turn it off and on, but if you press the O key on your keyboard, you'll be able to turn it off and on, and I've covered that in another video. And sometimes that tool can be annoying, but it can also be very helpful for you when you're designing something in Silhouette Studio. And so I thought I would come on here and I would do a quick tutorial on how to make this flower, and it can show you an easy way to use this tool. So let's go ahead here, and you can go to your page setup panel here on the right, and you can always turn off and on some of the things that you have for designing in Silhouette Studio. So I'm going to have my ruler on. I'm going to show my grid, and you can also turn that off and on with the G on your keyboard. But we're going to just use this, and then we're going to show guides, and we're also going to show snap to guides. And snap to means that when I have something, this guide here, these are the guides, I can turn that guide off and on. But when I move something, it'll snap to that guide. So here it's going to center my circle or my ellipse that I created to that guide, and you can see that where the dark blue line comes on there, that it's in the center now. And that's really helpful when we're doing something like I'm going to show you here. So now I'm going to bring down another one, and that is going to give me two of these. I'll kind of highlight them here so you can see them. But I'm going to have my ellipse now. Let's just make a new one. And you have your panel over here on your left hand side. You have your rectangle, your rounded rectangle, your ellipse, and your polygon tool. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to choose the ellipse. And let's go ahead and make a nice tall oval here. And now I want to go into my point editing panel. Now, if you haven't used point editing, I do have a video on that, and you can look for it in my videos, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double click on that to bring up that point editing panel. And anytime you're out of that point editing mode, you can also double click, but you can also, if you have your point editing panel open already, you can hit the A on your keyboard, and that'll bring up those point editing, bring up those points on your image. So let's go ahead and we're going to I'm going to call this a guitar pick sort of shape here. And it doesn't look like that yet, but let's go ahead and move some of these handles. And I'm just grabbing these handles. And you can make yours any way you want. And so I'm going to call that my flower petal. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to center that on my grid or my snap to guides. Now that center of rotation can be moved. So I'm going to mouse over that, and you can see that you get a little arrow with a plus sign next to it. I don't know if I zoom in here if you can see it a little better. And I can bring that down to wherever I want in my design area. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that, and it will snap to those crosshairs that I made, or those snap to guides that I brought over from my ruler. So that means that when I go to replicate this image, this is going to rotate around that center of rotation. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's replicate our image. And we're going to go to the replicate panel. And let's choose this advanced replicate. It's the middle one of these. And I want to have 8 total petals on my flower. So I'm going to replicate 7 of those. And 360 in a circle divided by 8 is 45. So I'm going to replicate each of those at 45 degrees. I'm going to have a total of 8, this one plus the 7 that I'm making, and I'm going to go to replicate. Now, those look a little bit too close together for me, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to make this a little bit skinnier. And I still have my settings here, so I can replicate that again. And I might just go a little bit smaller yet. And I like that, so let's go ahead, and I have all my copies here. I'm going to mouse over all of them, or I could go ahead and I could go to select all by line, all the red lines, and now I could go to weld, and I can weld all of my petals together. Now I have this crazy little thing in the middle that's left over, so I'm going to right click, release compound path, and now I can select that. It's a separate image now, and I can delete it. And you can see that I have my flower, and let's just leave that at no color for now. And let's grab our ellipse tool again, and this time we're going to hold down our shift key, and that's going to give us a perfect circle while we draw and drag that out. And we can snap that right to those guidelines from before. Now, I want to have it so that this is a separate piece. Maybe I want to cut this out of vinyl, and I'm going to make this a separate little color here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to offset. I'm going to go to internal offset. 0.125 is 1/8 of an inch. It's going to be 1/8 of an inch away from my other circle. And now I'm going to choose the outer one and my flower, and I'm going to go to Object, Modify, Subtract, and you can see that that makes a knockout there in my flower. And then I can go ahead and color in, I don't know, any color that I want, I guess. And my flower is all finished. And I could make this into a little print and cut sticker, or like I said, I could cut it out of vinyl. I could use it for a sign stencil, or whatever, you would like to do with it. So sometimes those little tools that are over there in the setup panel, or like that center of rotation, they do have a good purpose for designing. You just need to know how to turn them off and turn them back on again, or use the setup panel to set those things up, and it just makes it so much easier when you are going to design things to be able to have those tools available to you. So I hope that helps some of you who are newer to Silhouette Studio. I know a lot of people probably got Silhouette for Christmas and maybe are using the software to start designing for your spring designs, and so I thought that I would jump on here and help you with that. If you have any questions, I hope that you'll leave them down below. And again, if you like my channel and my content, I hope that you'll subscribe as I bring more videos for you so that you can use your Silhouette Cameo with confidence. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.